Is there, if you please, the Christian concept of Adam being the first man on earth? Can you explain the within Islam, what relevance, if any, Darwin's
Which
theory
Christian context you're talking about?
that God created Adam out of Eve, all that,
Of course, God created everything.
but that Adam was the first man on earth?
Which Adam are you talking about?
The Christian Adam.
Who occurred a few thousand years ago?
Mm-hmm.
But that Adam had been created
Out of
a
dust
billion
and-
years before that. Because when the first biotic unit came into existence, it did not come into existence because God wanted to create that unit. It came into existence because God wanted to create man. Throughout the evolution, this is the true understanding of evolution. It's a guided evolution. And the proof is that the first bricks of life, which made the first biounits, are a marvel in themselves, which man with all his advanced knowledge cannot create. So although many biologists believe that there is no concept of any sudden creation in God and in godly creations, we always find evolution and development. And they ignore the fact intentionally that the evolution could not have taken place until the first biounit was perfected. And it was perfected in the sense that it had all the characters and genes and chromosomes, etc., the potential for these chromosomes and genes in the first brick of life, DNA, call it DNA or RNA. How could this evolve? They have never offered any explanation of the evolution of the bricks of life. And they cannot. Because it's a so complicated affair, so impossible to have happened by chance, and also without any previous trace of its evolution, that the scientists keep dumb over it and begin to talk of evolution after the first step has been taken. That first step went on and on, being a common factor to life. So all they talk about life is founded on the creation of that first brick of life, for which they have no evolutionary explanation. So all the rest is just simple wishful thinking, you know. They want to move away from God, so they have invented the cliche of natural selection. Of course, there are selections on the way, but every selection requires a prior creation. And natural selection is not creator. Natural selection cannot enforce anything in the system and the mechanism of production. They are controlled by the genes, by the cellular tissues, which have been created and perfected before natural selection came into being. This is the dilemma which they avoid, of course, but if they delve deep into their own selves, they must admit that there is no way of putting scientific ideas, because the only reason why they do not analyze the situation further is they do not want to admit the existence of God. To shun that existence, they have overloaded them with scientific problems which they cannot resolve without admitting the third factor of God, who combines in him both the creation and selection. Because unless you create with a design, to select the right thing from that creation. You cannot create anything without being the selector in the end. And if you do create without the selection in mind, then the course of evolution will go topsy-turvy in every direction. It cannot go evolve in the same direction, which can only be possible if the creator and the selector are one and the same thing. He creates with a view to lead evolution to the point where man is created. And throughout the history of evolution, there is very strong incontrovertible evidence in favor of what I am claiming. So that also has been discussed in some places in minutest detail in the book which I just mentioned, The Grace of Allah. And if you are interested, of course, you can read that as well, apart from Buddhism. Right?
Thank you.
Please. Again your turn.
Again
Yes.
my turn. Helen, you seem to have covered most of my questions with
Very
many
good.
of your answers.
Remember,
Yeah.
note the addresses of all the intellectuals who come to this meeting,
Yes.
to send them a gift on my behalf of this book when it is ready,
Yes.
when it is published.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.